Hello, everyone. This is Mike. This is my brother Mark. We're going to be starting again. We're going to be continuing our talks on the tribes of Israel. We are now going to talk about the tribe of Reuben. This is one of my favorite ones. It's a lot of fun. Tribe of Joseph is pretty amazing. There's a lot of prophecies, and it's really important to understand them. But again, the tribe of Reuben was actually pretty influential all the way through the history of the tribes of Israel. And we'll see where it starts from the beginning. Reuben was the firstborn of Jacob, Israel. So that's really important. So this is important because he should have been the full leader of the tribes. He should have had the birthright and the blessings, spread down or brought down from Abraham and Isaac and himself. But that didn't happen, as we read in First Chronicles, the reason why that happened. But first of all, to understand some things, we need to start from the beginning when he was born. And this has relevance because there's a reason why he was named Reuben. And Reuben means see ye a son. See a son. And there's a reason why that he was named that way. And see ye a son. So that's one of the reasons why you get the symbol of a man, like a man. And that's one of the signs and symbols of Reuben is a man. It's like see ye a son, a man child. And that's where you get the idea of the symbol for Reuben being a man. You can see that in different places, different countries in heraldry. So that can be an indicator from what tribe you are. If you have a man in your heraldry, that's probably the tribe of Reuben. Pardon me. So there's another one that gives rise. It says it's a play on the word. See ye a son, see a son, like a sun rising, or the beginning, the rising of a new nation, the beginning of a nation of Israel, the sun rising. And so the animal that welcomes the sun rising is the rooster, and the rooster is another sign of the tribe of Reuben. They took on that sign. And Reuben was actually, they had land beside the tribe of Manasseh. And Reuben and Manasseh have again been beside each other, and they ended up beside each other in the lands where they moved. But what's interesting is Reuben also liked cattle and fertile land, but he really liked cattle. And so it's not a surprise that the Reubenites and the nation where they became, which is France, mostly France, French in France, have the strongest representation of the tribe of Reuben in the entire world. And we'll see that very clearly in a minute, or as this talk goes on. So we're going to start in Genesis chapter 29, where Reuben's name, see you a son. But we're going to start in verse 31 to explain why he was named that way. So
Genesis 29, verse 31. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me.
So it was a big thing because she felt that, he doesn't love me as much as Rachel anywhere near. But here I am. Look, Jacob, look, husband, see a son, giving you a son. So now that that the Lord looked upon her affliction and the fact that she wasn't being loved, and then all of a sudden she's like, here I got the firstborn son. I bore you the first son. And that's why he was called see ye a son. That's why Reuben means that, and that explains exactly why he was named that way. And so that's how we get the sign of the man and the rooster. And there's another signs that we're going to explain in a minute. But I want to go to another sign, and that's going to be in the next chapter, Genesis chapter 30. And it gives us an idea of what kind of character Reuben was. And so it gives us a little bit more information on Reuben. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 30,
Verse 14.
verse 14. Yes.
And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And he said unto her, Is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? And wouldst thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And this is why he has this symbol, and the sign is a mandrakes. Talks about like this being a bit romantic and doing those kind of things. And even the French are known today as, a place of the romantics.
Yeah, Paris is called the city of love. And so Reuben was very knowledgeable about these things, about aphrodisiacs and other things. And so mandrakes was another name for it is like a water lily. It's like a lily plant. And it has these leaves that look, and a flower, a beautiful flower that comes out of that lily or the mandrake. And but they were known for their aphrodisiac and qualities and helping in fertility and health and vitality. So that's why, and Reuben was very knowledgeable about that. And again, it says that he was found these in the field. So again, he was a very agricultural like son, it seems to me, talking about wheat harvest, and he knew about the fields and where to find them. And again, he's saying he was known for their cattle. That tribe was known for their cattle. And France is known for their cheeses and milk and their ideas. Actually, Louis Pasteur was the guy who came up with the pasteurization of milk. And their knowledge of cattle is actually quite something. They have several breeds of cattle that they bred. And again, they're known for their cheese. And so that's I don't think that's coincidental. And again, the romantic aspect of Reuben can be seen here. And so the mandrake is also the water lily, and fleur de lis literally means lily flower or flower lily in French, fleur de lis. And that's the national coat of arms of France. And that used to be on their official flag. The old flag was the fleur de lis. It wasn't actually the one that you see today. The ancient flag of France was the three fleur de lis with a blue background. And again, that's another sign that of Reuben was this like a river or water. That's another symbol of Reuben, and that comes along with the mandrake or the fleur de lis. So mandrake, this is where we get the symbol of mandrake from, Genesis chapter 30. And then we're going to see where they get the water sign or the blue or the river or water symbol for Reuben. And that's in Genesis chapter 49. So
I would like to read, before we go to 39, I want to read about Reuben in Genesis chapter 37. And it makes reference to his leadership qualities and the desire to lead. And, that continued when the nation was numbered and they were given possessions. Reuben was made the leader of the southern part with two other tribes. So Reuben did continue to be one of the leaders in Israel. So we'll just read about an aspect of his leadership. And we'll read of it in Genesis 37, chapter 22. Just a bit of a backdrop. This is a situation where all the children of Israel were tribes of Israel and children were deciding what to do with Joseph in his dreams. And they wanted to figure out what to do. And it was actually Reuben that decided what to do with Joseph. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him. that he might rid him out of their hands, deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass that when Joseph came from his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat and his coat of many colors that was on him, and she took him and cast him in the pit. And the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. So they actually did exactly what Reuben said that they were to do, and they did it. So it shows this aspect of Reuben's leadership. They respect Reuben, and they a lot of times they did what Reuben wanted them to do.
And later on in that story, Judah also was showed that leadership. He said that we should just sell him and don't kill him. But as we can see, a lot of the other all the other sons were actually quite willing to have Joseph killed or torn up by animals or sold, and so we could see that Judah and Reuben take up some major leadership roles. Judah actually was the main leader in the battle, as we saw in the tabernacle. They actually led everything. They were the full-on leaders, and they led the eastern portion, and Reuben led the southern portion. And so we see this aspect of leadership here. So there's another aspect of Reuben that has to be mentioned. In Numbers chapter 16, 1 to 11, I'm not going to go too much into it. I'm just going to read the first verse or two. And what it shows is that Reuben has this tendency to be a bit rebellious and to question things and having things thought in their direction. And so I'll let my brother read Numbers 16, verse 1.
Right. So this is actually an insurrection or a rebellion. And Korah, the son of Iskar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and On, and the son of Peleah, sons of Reuben, took men. So we had a group of Levites and sons of Reuben that took men. And they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes as of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. And they gathered themselves up together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye are too much upon yourselves, and upon you, sir, and all the congregation are holy. So they began having a case against Moses and Aaron, and they rose up against them.
And so we can see that in the French revolutions and a lot of French history that they're kind of up and down. They have revolutions, they have protests, and that kind of characteristic can clearly be seen in the people that are modern Reubenites today. So that's a very interesting point that I wanted to make. So that means they're unstable as water, and that's where that unstable as water. That's a part of prophecy of the tribe of Reuben. So Reuben would be have great leadership. They'd be a pretty strong nation. They would be a strong tribe. They would be pretty successful. They excelled in what they did. They were very good at what they do, and that was a source of some pride and respect among all the other tribes. And they had a leadership role, but they were unstable, and so they had this rebellious, unstable nature to them as well, and that carried through all the way through their history and their tribal history. So they never were number one. France as a country has been like very high up in the most powerful nations for a long time, like number 2, number 3, number 4, but never number 1. And that's why. Because it was prophesied that they would never stay at number 1 or be number 1 for any real period of time. They're unstable as water. And that's where you get the sign of water. And we're going to see that in Genesis chapter 49, 3-4, in the prophecies about Reuben. So
yes.
We're going to go there.
It says in Genesis 49:3, Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power, unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defile thou it. He went up to my house. So this is also the reason why he was rejected as having the birthright, because of what Reuben had done. And this is the reason on what showed his rebellious and unstable nature, because he had done this. And this is what it was being referred to here.
Yeah, it says that the firstborn of my might and the beginning of my strength. That's that sun rising aspect, the rooster and all that. But in the man, right? Beginning of born, firstborn son. And that talks about excellency of dignity. So it says that, and they said that they would also have the excellency of power. So they were very concerned. They really prided themselves in being the best at what they do. So they're very good at fashion, very good at being the romantic aspect, the cheese and wine. They're known for that, and they're known to have the best of these things. So whatever France does, or whatever the Reubenite did, they did it to the best, and they were excellent at it. And so it's talking about that excellency, that superiority attitude. In Reuben, is he's like, look, I'm the firstborn. I'm the firstborn of might and the excellency of power, and I'm good at what I do. And so that's a part of the characteristic of Reuben. And again, as my brother was saying, we can read again in First Chronicles 3-4. We don't have to go there. We read it actually the other day, but it shows why Reuben lost that birthright. It was given to tribes of Joseph, and because of what he did. And again, that shows that kind of that promiscuous kind of romantic kind of part of Reuben, which actually got him in trouble, and that's why he lost his birthright. But he's still a leader. He was still a leader amongst the tribes, and a respected leader at that. And so I'm going to go into a little bit of some of the tribal names and what they mean, so that people get an idea of where, other than France, they were. But most of these areas are actually, a lot of these tribes were found in the area of France. Some of these tribes are a little bit out of that area, but at the same time, we can go back and show you where they get these names. So the very name of Gaul comes from Galati or Gilead. And again, that's another name of how people can identify the Manassites. Again, remember Reuben, I said Reuben was on the east side, and they were beside Manasseh. So Reuben had land in the region of Gilead. And so that's where you get Galati, Gaul, Gilead. So that was another name for the tribal Reubenites, sorry. And there was another one called the Reuteni Caduci, which is like Carmi, the son of Reuben, and that's the Carmites, or this Canutes, another word you get from a derivative of Carmi. And then we have Saluvi, the Suluvi, or which is where they get from the son Palu, and then Redones. So we get the Galetes, which is where we get, again, Gilead, Galati. And then we have one called the Rubiari, which is basically Reuben, just like with a little bit of linguistic change. And so we have some ideas where these tribes were, and most of them were in France. They settled in the area of France. So mostly the tribe of Reuben is found in France. I'm not saying that everybody in France is from the tribe of Reuben, because I already had said that there are other tribes in France, in different areas of France. So France does not only have the tribe of Reuben in it, but as we can see, the tribe of Reuben dominates France. So if you want to have an idea where they ended up, was France. So
and you can look at there was times in the colonial times, France had a lot of power and a lot of influence all over the world. Actually, it was quite substantial, and it was only exceeded by Great Britain when they fulfilled God's promises for them. And we also see this tribe of Reuben, the symbol in Canada, in Quebec. You see the fleur-de-lis, and we know that, for example, in Canada there was colonies and settlements there. So we see these symbols in the places that they went and they colonized, like Canada.
That's a good point.
The fleur-de-lis in Canada, in Quebec.
They had a pretty large empire, and wherever they went, they were in India and other places, the islands. They owned a lot of island holdings, and they had all over. So, yeah, that's where the tribe of Reuben is, right? So they're actually pretty spread across, and they're a reasonably large tribe, and they just fell out of power later on. But at the beginning, as we could see, they were actually, time of Moses, quite a powerful tribe and very influential, and they had a big leadership role at that time. So I think that covers the tribe of Reuben quite well, and we'll leave it there, and take care, everyone, and God bless.